Hey, everybody. Welcome to Meddkit's Provider Spotlight, where every week we are interviewing a brand new practice, brand new perspectives and ideas. And we are interviewing people from all over the United States, which is very fun for us. And today we have an awesome and very different special guest this week. A topic that we have not discussed in the past 4 years, which is beyond me because it's very important and happens to a lot of people. So today we have Derek Croft, owner of Lice Doctors. Welcome, Derek. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Rachel. I'm glad to be on here. Excited to talk a little bit about lice.
Yeah, me too. I feel like it's this like secret or something that people aren't sure what to do or don't know
That's
well
right.
enough about. And so I'm very excited to kind of debunk this with you. But kind of the way I love to start off with people, and I always think it's very interesting, is I love to know the story.
Mhm.
What is your journey to getting here? What's the journey to lice doctors?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. It's kind of an interesting journey for myself as well of how I got here. It's not necessarily a career I thought I would be doing years ago. So I'm originally a mechanical engineer, actually, did that very briefly, so nothing at all related to the healthcare industry. I then went and did an MBA, and from there I became a management consultant for a company called Bain and Company, doing management consulting for some of the biggest companies in the world. I was always interested in healthcare during that time, but actually didn't have much of a chance to do anything healthcare related while I was at Bain. But after 4 or 5 years at Bain, I decided it was time to jump ship and try my hand at actually running a business instead of just consulting on businesses. And so I decided to search and buy a business. And I was actually very healthcare focused at the beginning. I was looking at home health types of services and types of companies. And through a number of fortuitous circumstances, ended up running into Lice Doctors, which was originally created by two women in New York who had just started it out of their own homes. They were the ones doing lice treatment. They built this to be a nationwide company over about 10 to 15 years, and they were ready to retire. And as I got to know them and got to know Lice Doctors, this looked like a perfect opportunity for me. And so ended up buying the company from them last year, and I've been running it for about a year now. So yeah, it's kind of a weird journey to be here.
I feel like everyone has had a unique journey to their practice or whatever they're doing. And so I think it's always fun to hear all the different steps that you've taken to, what you have here, what you have to show for. And I think it's a very unique journey, but a fun journey, it seems like,
Oh
a,
yeah,
a
absolutely.
well worthwhile one.
Yeah, no, and it's been great to be with Lice Doctors for the last year and be involved in the healthcare space. It's something that I find very important, as I'm sure all of your listeners and viewers do. So glad to be a part of the group here.
Yeah, no, team healthcare. I love it.
Mhm.
So obviously, the biggest struggle is people coming to you about lice. How,
Yeah.
but how do you get it in the first place?
Yeah, as you can imagine, when people come to us with lice, they're very, very stressed about the situation. Most have never had lice before. A frequent comment actually that we get is, I felt like I had to burn my house down when I found out I had lice because they're just so freaked out by it. There's a lot of stigma and unknown about lice out there.
Yeah.
But lice is not hard to get. It's actually very, very common. The CDC has a very wide range of estimates, but it's in the tens of millions, 10 million cases a year, roughly, is what they estimate happen in the United States alone. So
Mhm.
it's a very, very common issue. Anybody can get lice. You essentially just get head lice by being in contact with somebody else that has head lice. There's no other secret to that. It's not coming out of from your pets, or it's not coming from the woods or something like that. It's just coming from somebody else had lice. You came in contact with them and got lice as well. So nothing crazy about it.
Yeah, what do you find is like the biggest struggle about lice? And then another interesting common question, like what do you feel like people are really struggling with when it comes to getting it?
Yeah, well, there's obviously the anxiety concern that comes up of, oh, I have bugs in my hair. Do all my kids and do my I have bugs in my hair myself if I'm a parent dealing with it. So that's number one. The struggle is just the emotional anxiety. There's also the social stigma associated with it of, oh, my kids are dirty or something like that, which is completely untrue. Lice don't discriminate. You can be very, very clean and still have lice. They actually prefer clean hair because it's easier for them to grab onto than oily or greasy hair. So, kind of a random fact about lice there. But lice can also be hard to get rid of. Super lice is a term that we say in the industry, and it is a real thing. They're lice that have become resistant to the chemicals that are often used to treat them in lice shampoo, for example. And so they can be hard to get rid of. And they don't do any harm really besides being annoying and making you itch, but they don't
Yeah.
carry diseases or anything like that. But they can be very hard to get rid of if you don't know how to treat them properly.
Interesting. So, in the nature of that answer, how would you say your approach is different, and what about the things that you do makes you successful?
Yeah, so we use actually an all natural process, and that's maybe a myth that exists in the industry too, that the all natural processes don't work, but they do. We've got hundreds of thousands of people treated over the course of Lice Doctors history, and if it didn't work, we would definitely know it because our customers would not be happy. But we use just an olive oil that goes on the hair. And then we physically remove the bugs and the eggs. We found that that is actually the most effective way to get rid of lice. So the term nitpicker actually comes from picking out nits or the egg of a lice from somebody's hair, something that's very small and difficult to get rid of. So our technicians are trained on how to do that. They have a lot of experience now as they've done it for many people. They know what to look for and they remove the eggs and the bugs. And that's really the best way to get rid of them. We then recommend to our customers a follow-up plan that they follow. It's relatively simple and straightforward, but that just makes sure that the lice won't return and that if our technician did miss a single louse, because that's all it takes to get lice again is a single one that's still alive, that will be taken care of with the follow-up plan that we provide to them. So,
That
yeah, it's a very simple process.
sounds like your technicians are really good nitpickers.
That's right, they are. They are very, very good nitpickers.
That's awesome. That really interesting fun fact. I love things like that.
Mhm.
You kind of been doing this the entire interview, but I'm sure there's more to the story. I feel like in every corner of healthcare, there is misconceptions left and right, which you have already
Sure.
debunked a ton of them. But is there any more left in your arsenal that you feel like you can talk about? Anything that you feel like are, is commonly said or commonly asked that you're like, oh, I wish you didn't read that. It's not true, or whatever.
Yeah, there's a surprising number of misconceptions about lice out there. So I mentioned the being dirty is one. Another is that they'll survive in your home after you get rid of them. And so you have to clean everything, clean your stuffed animals. People worry about a lot. They think they're in the hair of the stuffed animals or that they're on your pets or your dogs or cats. And all of those are actually untrue. Head lice only live on the head. They can only survive 24 to 48 hours off of the head because they need to eat. And if they don't eat during that time, then they're going to die. And so our follow-up plan that we give to our customers make sure that if there are any bugs that were on your pillow and they survived the day and you lay back down at night, that they'll be killed that evening using the olive oil to suffocate them actually, since that's the most effective way to kill them.
Mm.
They'll suffocate and die, and so you actually don't have to burn your house down or clean literally everything and uh, destroy your stuffed animals or whatever, or treat your pet. None of that's necessary. So that's a big misconception that we hear a lot.
Yeah, I can only imagine the questions that you get, but I think the parents and everyone here watching today will actually be better off and realizing that they don't need to either burn or sell their house, and they
Yeah, that's
are
right.
perfectly fine and emerge very happy and successful, lice-free.
That's right. They're actually much easier to get rid of than bed bugs, for example. Since bed
Oh,
bugs do live in your home, they are
Mm.
semi-difficult to get rid of, but lice are not. They're relatively easy to get rid of as long as you are diligent about the process that we give. And people do still, wash things to feel comfortable. That's totally understandable to kind of get the anxiety factor out, but not necessary to get rid of the lice.
That's awesome. And I next have kind of like a two-prong advice question for you.
Mhm.
So one, I'd love to hear about a few easy tips or advice or common homework that you might give to a client or a patient. And then
Mhm.
just because of your background, and obviously taking over this practice and something here that we're starting to do within Provider Spotlight, we really love to hear from it, whether it's a provider or business owner, about what is some kind of pro tip that you think that other providers should know. As what we do is helping other private practices. A lot of people that
Mhm.
follow us are other providers, other practice owners, and I think if any
Sure.
type of pro tip that you could give to them would be amazing. But one on the clinical side and then one on the professional side advice.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for our customers, obviously we have the follow-up plan that I've mentioned that we
Yep.
ask them to do after the fact, but
Mhm.
we also encourage our clients to check their children semi-frequently for lice as they're coming home from school, since that is
Yeah.
most commonly where it's being
Breeding
spread.
ground. Yeah.
That's right, and to just take a look at their hair every once in a while, see if you see any signs of the nits, and we try and educate them as much as we can about lice so that if it does pop up in the future, they're able to recognize it quickly. Obviously, if you treat it sooner, it's easier to get rid of and less of an issue for the family as a whole. So that's probably the biggest piece of advice that we give to clients is check your children, and if it does come back, give us a call so we can get rid of it quickly, and that way we can handle it without it before it becomes a big problem and spreads to everybody in the family.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
as far as advice to providers go, as I've come into this over the last year, a big focus for us has been how do we improve our communication with the people that are providing the actual service. And so, as the business owner, I'm not actually the one that's out there doing the lice treatments. As I imagine other owners of some practices are, they might have other doctors or clinicians or whoever underneath them that are seeing the patients and working with them. And so finding ways to improve the lines of communication so that we're aware of what's happening with our customers and we can better meet their needs. We're aware with what's happening with our providers, we call them technicians out there in the field, what their problems and difficulties are so we can work to make their jobs easier and make sure they have the tools that they need. So we've invested a pretty meaningful amount in software that helps us with that communication and helps them talk to us and us talk to them and also talk to our clients. So that's been a big thing for us.
That is a great thing to note. Thank you for the pro tip. I think, yeah, communication is key, whether it's between you and your patients or clients, but also within your team. And because that
Right.
fits out a great, ending for, or end result for your client and patient. So,
Mhm.
communication is key. And I think that is a great thing, to chat about. So thank you for your pro tip. And before we leave off today, would love
Mhm.
Derek, if you could tell us where we can find you guys online, how, if people have questions, can contact you guys, that would be
Sure. Yeah, you can just go to our website. If you go to lice-doctors.com, you'll find all the information there to contact us. We have our main call center number. So if you do have lice or you know somebody that has lice, feel free to refer them over to us. We're able to get out there either same day or next day most of the time, and we do house visits for people. So feel free to reach out at any time. Yeah, we also have an email that you can reach out to on there as well. I believe it's customer support at lice-doctors.com. Um, yeah, look us up. Give us a call if you need us.
Cool. Awesome. Well, Derek, thank you so much for joining on today. Appreciate all the advice and all the things that you had debunked for us today. I'm sure
Sure.
you gave a lot of people information that they had zero idea about today. So this was really fun for us. Glad you are our first company to come on here to talk about lice. So this was great.
Sure.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah. No, glad to be here. Thank you so much, Rachel.
Anytime. Hope to have you again soon.